Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first official third act review. As you can see, we are doing this from the comfort of our own respective homes. Just, you know, as things have worked out, we've not been able to get caught up in person this week, but we're not going to rob yous of content. We are here to talk about really the real movie of the moment as it is, as it stands. We're here to talk about Project Hail Mary, the kind of first, not the first like big release of the year, but definitely the first undeniable release of the year, and for myself, easily the movie of the year so far. But before we do crack on into it, Kieran, give us your thoughts as you swallow your Dr. Pepper there, son.
It's a cherry crush, zero sugar. Actually, thanks very much. It's a banger.
Mhm.
If you want straight off the dome, it is just a banger.
Yeah.
I seen it in IMAX at the Science Centre, which feels quite poetic. Now that I'm thinking about it, to go and see like space films at the Science Centre,
Yeah.
me and Aidan have been a couple of times to see
Interstellar.
Interstellar
Yeah.
and Dune Part Two.
Mhm.
So it felt apt to take it and branch out from my home cinema of the Showcase in Coatbridge
It's worth
and
it.
give this the format it deserves. So saw it in IMAX, packed house on the 20th of March. So that was,
Wait.
I think, was opening night for
Yes.
It came
IMAX.
out 2 days for a opening release, and then it was like 3 day break, and then it was full release.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because I
first day
know.
of full release.
Yeah, because I know that View was like the cinema over here that got it on the kind of preview screenings.
Yeah.
So when I saw it when we recorded the last episode, I'd been to the View, just in the town, and I also absolutely adored it. I thought it was incredible, and I go into any film with Ryan Gosling, ready to give it at least a half star boost over what it would be without him, just because
Yeah.
I adore him. But like I genuinely think, you know, I don't want to say I'm still giving it a full five without him, because I'm not. He's the heart of it, but like the movie is so good, and I'm not just giving it extra Ryan Gosling points like I tend to do for things. And
Yeah.
Aidan, what would you, if you had to
Um,
give a quick wee rundown on your thoughts on it?
I was always wanting to go see it, and I just didn't have the time. It was a screening at Paisley Showcase. I think it was about 20 past 10, and I wish I went at an earlier time. And I wouldn't say a worse screen, but like what the film deserves. Do you know what I mean? Like IMAX per head. I was immersed straight away. I text Kieran like 20 minutes into it, and I just said like I think it's remarkable. Just from the bat, I was just invested, like everything about it, and I love it as well. Ryan Gosling, I think he's just exceptional. I think it's his actual hiring agent for films. Like they just keep giving him the best choices of films to work on, and he's just shown how good he is as an actor. Like he spends the majority of that like it's like a silent film in a way, or he's isolated. He's himself. I don't think there's many people that can actually, like handle that weight so long in a film. He's also then speaking to, Rocky. So I absolutely loved it. I think for me the main thing I took away was just the visuals, the camera work, and that's down to Greg Fraser, the cinematographer. I rate him so highly, and
Yeah,
it's just I was I left. I don't know how many people have said they've like walked out the cinema with like a beating their walk or like skipping out. Like it's. I wish more people do go and see it. I think it's that deserving of it as a film.
yeah, and definitely, I think one of the things that you kind of brought up there is so much of this film is kind of Ryan Gosling acting against himself, especially in the opening sort of
Mm.
first portion of the film. And there's not many actors that can kind of,
No.
and I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to then get in and start, weird ranking conversations when we're like, who's
No,
the
it's just
best
big
alive?
pressure.
Because
Do
I
you know what I mean? It's
think,
just whether or not they can like handle the pressure. He just
yeah.
it didn't appear like he batted an eyelid at any point to it.
Yeah, and I think like it's the thing that I always kind of say about Ryan Gosling in most things is
Hmm.
just a fucking charisma machine,
Yeah,
and you can't really, the first sort of portion of that film with the kind of mystery and the intrigue and the build up to when we do meet Rocky, you won't get that with someone who's not got the just innate charisma of a Ryan Gosling, or I think the the only kind of comparable person I think with like that sort of specific charisma is, it's not even him in everything, which I suppose the fact I have this one role in mind means it can be him in most things. But when I think of someone who that kind of level of just running around zipping off everything, it's Andrew Garfield in No Way Home, when he's
Yeah.
like, people don't remember my Spider-Man super fondly because those movies are up and down. I'm just going to make the most of every single second I have here. And it is just, again, like I say, just a fucking charisma machine is how I would describe Gosling through it. But what
I'd
did
even
you,
think
I
of
guess,
someone like Matt Damon. Do you know what I mean? Matt Damon through The Martian or Interstellar as well.
yeah.
That's
Something
kind of
like
like a
that.
natural.
Yeah.
That's a natural kind of comparison to make as
Obviously,
Damon
Andy
and the
Weir.
Martian. Obviously, the Andy Weir
Yeah.
connections there, and then Interstellar's the kind of. I know people have talked about it being kind of like a cheap comparison because it is a save the Earth, isolated in space kind of thing, but it is the most relevant
Yeah, or comparable. Yeah.
comparison that we can make, and it's something different as well because Interstellar in comparison feels like it feels colder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas this feels, you do feel the warmth that comes from Ryan Gosling, and then you've got to give credit to James Ortiz as well, who's not only puppeteering Rocky with four other people doing the voice as well, and giving Gosling something to bounce off of when he's acting, so that he's not acting alone the whole time. Like, it does enhance his performance quite a lot having someone else there, as opposed to like a tennis ball.
Yeah.
I think
I
as
go.
Like,
well, like,
Sorry, I'd go one further. Like I think of 2001: A Space Odyssey was like the template for obviously Interstellar, but Interstellar for me, the difference with the two is that that has like a heart or a core with like passion and family
yeah,
and love. This then takes it one step further, and it's adventurous. It's got risks. There's just a more. I think people can relate to it a bit more and like wanting them to succeed, wanting Ryan Gosling and Rocky to like do the job, get the task done.
hmm
So I think
but you
there's like
just
it just I think everything that they've obviously the directors have watched and took in, they've just then saw the positive aspects of it. So I wouldn't say it's like a rip off or anything like that. It's just almost paying homage, and they've set the bar and they're just
and
following it.
I think as well, as we kind of alluded to, like, it's kind of only natural to draw the comparisons to something like The Martian and something like Interstellar, because they are the sort of big movies of in fairly recent memory of alone in space out in
Mm,
in the far reaches doing all these things, but they are just like completely different
yeah,
movies, completely different characters, completely different like tones, as we mentioned. Like Interstellar is a lot more like cold and a lot more, I don't know, I want to say like detached in a way.
mm,
Whereas like this movie completely wears its heart on its sleeve. And again, even The Martian is kind of the middle ground in it. The Martian's like a lot more resilient, I suppose is the word for it. Whereas I don't know, I just
realistic
feel like
maybe.
yeah, and I think even though they are all in that sort of same, oh,
Sorry, my dog's just ruined the whole thing.
but even though they do all occupy a very similar space, like I think to make those comparisons is just being disingenuous for the sake of it.
Yeah,
When I see
but
that
going
online,
yeah, but going back to like what Aidan was saying about like 2001, like you've got like a temperature scale of 2001 being like ice cold in its
cool. Yeah,
execution, like it's very to the point, and kind of, I'm trying to think of like it is kind of brutal in a way, like it's kind of showing a mirror up to humanity, like this is the distractions
yeah. It
of
doesn't make it easy for you. Do you know what I mean? Like first half hour,
no.
no words, no dialogue. Like it's just like you watch it. You don't have a choice. Like
Yep,
you
you're
just need to go
enduring the
with it.
first half an hour.
yeah,
Yeah,
Whereas things like Interstellar is obviously kind of warming up because you do have that connection to Earth, whereas straight from
the
the
get go
get
with
go
this.
in
Yeah,
2000, and you've got the warmth. Um, aye, but I think the more we get films like this, the warmer it's going to get for
yeah,
sci-fi, and the more human they're going to get, and it can only be positive as well because not only are they giving it a heart, it's got comedy, it's got bits that'll make you cry,
yeah.
it's it touches you in all the right ways.
Yeah.
And
And
I'd
it's the
watched
thing
an
as
interview
well.
with Ryan Gosling, sorry, and he was talking about they were trying to find the balance between like you could be crying, and then when they make you laugh, you're crying like tears of like just joy. You're still crying. It's just they were trying to find that. I had that. I just was
Yeah,
completely in the middle of what they were wanting.
yeah, and I think as well, the kind of the thing that there's a lot of talk about in Hollywood and the cynical sort of studio business side of it, as everyone talks about. It's the every studio wants the four quadrant movie because they want it to be something that everyone can go to. And usually, when you cast such a wide net, or you make these films to have as wide an audience as possible, you get things that are they just do not land. You get things that just feel like they are, again, they don't have a singular vision. Whereas I think what I've loved about Miller and Lord's work kind of forever
Mhm,
is they just make and tell their stories their way, and
mhm,
they know that the audience will be there because of how confident they are with it. Like, I something I found out about Miller and Lord recently. I can't remember. It was a clip I saw just on TikTok of the How I Met Your Mother like podcast that they do, and they're the ones who wrote this. They're the ones who wrote, like, gave a script note on, I think, episode 3 or 4 of, in this episode Barney is a cartoon character on an adventure, and it's like that then essentially becomes one of the most enduring things of throughout the show that made Barney such an iconic character, is just leaning into the cartoonish nonsense of him, and then eventually later constructed it. But them getting a guest spot on a small budget show, you can even see it then. Look at Clary with a
mhm.
Chance of Meatballs, look at the Spider Verse movies, look at Jump Street.
mhm.
They're just so confident in what they do, and they almost know that it'll find the audience because they know what they're doing, which
Yeah,
I love.
I was.
There's a heartfelt genuineness in how they go about making films.
Yeah,
Like, I know you were saying how they like the net can be cast quite far and trying to make these four quadrant films that kind of suit everyone. But I think they make films to suit themselves, and that just so happens to be something that like lands with everybody
mhm,
Yeah, and I
as
think
well.
that's, to me, I'd much rather watch a film that I can tell the people who people. I'd much rather watch a film that I can tell that it's being made for them. The people making it are in love with every step of the process, because when you feel that, that's when a film really becomes the four quadrant film. Instead of trying
Mhm.
to be like, oh, we need to have like the fun silly jokes for the kids, and we need to have the toys for the kids. But instead of just doing all that, you just go, let's just make the movie and let it speak for itself.
mhm. I was going to ask you a question, Kieran. It was like two things. So, the thing for me, what struck me straight away was when Gosling wakes up in the ship and he's every scene, but it was dreams that he was thinking of. It kind of like
Mhm.
glittered through in the screen. I just loved it. It was just very different, unique. But see, when you went, obviously in the science center, was there aspect ratio changes for
Yeah, big
different
time.
scenes? Yeah,
Like, especially between like the scenes in space
yeah,
and Earth. It was I don't know, I couldn't tell you the exact aspect ratio changes, but you could see the screen kind of shortening and becoming a lot denser
yeah,
when it was going back to Earth. Also, the camera shifts. There's a
mm,
lot of camera movement when they're on Earth
mm.
as opposed to when they're in space. Like, I noticed, like, if he's like at the start when he's swinging in the chair, obviously you get the parallel for when he's in the zero gravity, or I can't remember exactly what he's doing, and it shifts to the memory, and he's swinging in his chair, and the camera tilts and follows him as he's swinging, and then
But the
comes
full,
back up the way.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I loved
and
that. That was very early in it. It was about 15 minutes in, and I just knew I was like, Greg Fraser has almost been given like have fun, like do what you want.
100%.
Uh,
Yeah, and I think as well it's something that kind of speaks to like Greg Fraser's abilities. When I saw that he was involved in this, obviously, when you think of Greg Fraser, you think of the Dune movies, you think of the Batman as well. You think of these like
mm,
huge, epic, sweeping, massive shots, which obviously we do get a lot of in this film. But it is, as you say, like the
a lot of
smaller
intimacy.
moments,
Yeah.
the yeah,
Mhm.
even in the kind of like even in the classroom scenes, for him to make the camera work so interesting and so
Mm,
intriguing and intimate and personal in the classroom, and to kind of have then on the other side of it just the scale and the magnitude in later scenes. It just again shows that he's just it makes me think that wide shot when they all walk across Abbey Road, that's going to be some.
Well, I'll put it to you, Jake. Right, what do you think about the score, Daniel Pemberton's score?
I loved it. I thought it was I really really enjoyed it, and I think like
Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
weirdly as a kind of music guy, I don't typically pay loads of attention to scores in films,
Is he laughing?
but but like it's not something I pick up on a lot of the time in my first watch. Weirdly enough, being like a music guy, but it's when I do notice it, like I'm like, this is
Yeah,
class.
yeah.
Stop saying I'm a music guy now.
Oh, he's a music guy again.
What can you play? Yes, the music man.
Play the bongos.
No, just talking about that Pemberton scores. It is phenomenal, but
Yeah.
I think at the same time, it's so understated because everything around it, like the visuals, obviously for Greg Fraser, Gosling's performance, the heart that Rocky brings to it, it kind of it kind of like accents it a wee bit. It's
Yeah.
not an in your face score because
Mm.
of everything that's going on around it. But if you go away from the movie and you do anything, first thing you do when you go and sit in your car is listen to the score and appreciate it for what it is because it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You won't notice it at the time. There's there's wee motifs and that
Just
that
kind of
pop up that might,
isolating it, yeah. Isolating it
yeah,
just so you can
but
appreciate it.
Yeah.
the motifs throughout the film, they do like trigger emotions within you, whether it's pure joy or if
Mm.
it's something that he's looking to make you cry. It's not manipulative in that way, but
Yeah.
it brings like something extra to each scene without being too in your face. And if you
Yeah.
do listen to it and it's isolated, then you will have a better appreciation for it than in the film because you're so immersed, especially on that IMAX screen when everything around you is it's everything's booming and the visuals on screen, the colours, everything about it is just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So the score kind of gets overshadowed, I think, a bit, but in isolation, it may be my favourite score of the year so far. Not that
Mm.
it's not got much competition,
Mhm.
but I think it will definitely be top five
Yeah.
by the turn of the next year.
Yeah, and I think as well, kind of one of the things that you said about the score, with it being like quite understated as it is, at times it sort of feels like, you know, uh, I don't know how to like word it properly, but like obviously every score is a companion to what you're seeing, but like this just feels like the score is just done less. It's less about being the score. It's more about just like being perfect for what it's
Yeah,
doing.
just
Whereas
feeling it. What's right? Yeah.
again, it's as you say, it's quite understated, but yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
What was that? I had a thought in my head there and it's completely passed me by. Oh, there was I made the choice not to read the book going into it. I had it the whole time in advance and I was going to, but I actually enjoyed like being as invested as the two characters were to
Mhm.
figure out the story and what was going to happen. I like that decision that I made, but I know they did kind of go off on ways they made in
Mm,
the book. Obviously, Ryan Gosling's much more like sophisticated, intelligent. But I just think the changes that they did make worked. Like it
Yeah,
worked.
yeah,
I
uh,
think Sandra Hüller's character is meant to be a lot colder as
Mhm.
well,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
a lot less personable. And the karaoke scene was obviously worked in because Gosling had heard Huller singing in her trailer or in her
Yeah,
dressing room or something. He's like, you need to sing in the film, and I think that just makes, again, going back to warmth, it just makes the character so much warmer, and you connect with her as well. I don't know what the undertones are with their relationship, if it's romance or whatever. I can't. You can't get a read on it
I think it was
properly
just
because the scenes are.
respect, and it was hard. That
Yeah,
was kind of hard. Appreciation, like understand each other. Like you've got a job to do. That's it.
yeah,
yeah. And I think as well, obviously you mentioned the karaoke scene, and obviously Sandra Hüller is phenomenal. We already know this,
Yeah,
but
she was
like
very good.
for relatively little screen time, as essentially everyone has that's not named Ryan Gosling or Rocky.
Ah,
Like, what was that?
I know your voice broke. Wasn't mine.
Uh,
I'm sorry,
anyway, back.
really, really sorry, Nicky.
It just keeps
Why are you
jumping in and
laughing?
out. Um, but I really think like how much she does with fairly limited amount and how much she is able to portray. And as we kind of alluded to, I've also
Mm,
not read the book, but I've been reading that in the book her character is so much colder, and
colder.
when she makes that decision to do that, by all accounts in the book, there's like no, oh, should I, shouldn't I? There's no like, I'm sorry about this. In the book, it's
Yeah,
apparently it's done. Whereas kind of in this, you see her bring a lot of depth and complexity to it, which again adds a lot of weight to the flashbacks because you know the flashbacks are. And many times in many films, you just see a flashback and you're like, "Oh, okay, what's really the
it's
point?"
not
But the
relevant.
flashbacks are,
Context a wee bit, but that provided a lot of weight.
yeah,
Understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Her line delivery is also brilliant. Like
yeah, she is
it's
very good.
so to the point, but it's really, really funny at the same time. And I think there's a lot of instances in the film of that where like, the stakes are pretty high, but there's always not always, but there's very often a comedic kind of turn that kind of lightens it, but then you're brought straight back down. You realise how serious the situation is in some parts.
Yeah,
Um, but who was brilliant, and she deserves all the flowers she gets for this one,
yeah,
considering
yeah.
she's only in it for like what, about 30 minutes.
yeah, something like that. When I watch a film, normally all my family will ask me like how it was or whatever, and I always try and think what would they like it and what could I compare it to. And first thing in my head, like I thought of was like this is a modern day ET. Do you know what I mean? Like just that's the way I thought of it straight away.
With
And
the alien aspect.
yeah, just that. It was like just it's got you're satisfied. Like it gives you that good ending. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no like
Yeah.
dark.
Hmm.
There is stakes. Do you know what I mean? Or weight to it, whatever. But I really enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was such a good film.
Yeah.
It
And
was
to
long
that,
as
one of the
well.
things,
Obviously, that's what's 2.5 hours. But they had time to build characters. Give you feeling, make you want
yeah,
to back
Hmm.
them, support them. So I'm happy.
yeah. To that, one of the things I will kind of bring up, just obviously because I think the first trailer for this came out about like 8 or 9 months ago.
Oh, a
The
while
first
ago, yeah.
trailer for this
Hmm.
kind of came out towards the kind of tail end of last summer, and obviously none of those trailers give anything away about Rocky. It's all just Ryan Gosling's in space, he has to save the world, and he's all on his own.
Hmm.
And then obviously the closer we got and
The official
the
trailer.
more the
Yeah.
more trailers and things came out, that Rocky was obviously put in to the into the material and into the trailers and stuff. And I was kind of, I've seen a lot of people going back and forth on the idea of like, do you think they should have put him in the promotional materials, or do you think they should have left that surprise for the cinemas? Because I'm kind of like I think putting him in all the trailers gave it a better shot to do this well. I don't
Yeah.
think the word of mouth would have
Yeah.
been as much without
No.
that.
If there's word of mouth and you don't know anything, someone says to you like, "Oh, what happens?" Oh, it's Ryan Gosling speaking to a rock. People be like,
Yeah.
But the trailers that I get it, they gave it away. But what are all
Yeah.
trailers like just now? They
But
they, they, they
I
give you
think
everything.
as well though, like I hadn't seen so like the first like teaser and things, there wasn't loads of hype from what I could see and when I would speak to people, and then by the time, so I think maybe that decision was made later down the line to go,
Mm,
right, we need something here. We've pumped a lot of money into this movie. Let's maybe
yeah.
try that. But I think like either way, I would have loved to go in and have that surprise completely.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I don't think you give the movie as much of a chance to grow the legs it's grown without
Yeah.
having Rocky in the trailers.
It was an
I
expensive
think
movie. It was what 200 million budget,
yeah.
and it's I just saw online it's just broke 300 million worldwide. So it's people are going to see it. So I think word
That's
of
what
mouth
this
as well is giving it legs.
I
Similar
saw.
like
I think it was
Sinners. Do you know
yesterday.
what I
It
mean?
was 250.
Like Sinners last year. Like I think word of mouth put that very far, and it continued right into the Oscar run. And I
Mhm.
think this may
I
be
think
something of the kind of similar how early it was, and it, word of mouth will keep it going near maybe potential Oscar contention or awards.
yeah, it's going to have good legs, and I think as
Mm,
well the giveaway, like putting Rocky in the market as well, it also opens it up to a different market. like it opens it up to parents and kids,
Kids, yeah.
Yeah,
because as soon as you see that there's a friendly alien in this film, your automatic thought, going back to what Aidan said earlier, is ET.
yeah,
Mhm.
And
yeah,
it's a classic for a reason, and it connects with kids and adults. And
Yeah.
if you can corner that market, like I took Louis
Yeah,
to see it
the adults that have grew up watching
yesterday.
ET as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I took Louis to see it yesterday because I'd went to see it with my two mates, Jordan and Max, in IMAX, and I was like, as soon as I came out, I was
Hi,
like,
Max.
man,
hi Max.
and Coach, can't forget Coach.
No, I said IMAX.
Oh, IMAX,
Yes.
sorry.
Sorry.
No,
Aye,
it's
so I
called
took
High
Louis.
Rocks, mate.
Uh,
I took my wee boy to see it yesterday, based on my first view, and I walked out and I was like, "This is like a modern day ET,"
yeah.
and my wee boy loves ET, so I was like, "Yeah, that's something I'm definitely going to take him to and let him enjoy that experience." So cornering that market's going to be massive
Yeah,
for
Yeah.
them, and I think they'll easily get
Definitely.
another 300 million
yeah,
without a doubt.
My
and I
first
think
thought was like, I just want people to go and see it. Like that's what I
Mhm.
felt.
You want to take your friends, you want to take your family, you want to
Just tell
just
people. Yeah.
experience it with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it. The first time I seen it, the cinema was packed, and
yeah,
I love it when the pictures are like that. And the same again on Saturday. I mean, it's been
Mm.
out for
A
over a
week and a
week,
half. Yeah.
and yeah, and you're still getting like a packed cinema in Coatbridge in Scotland.
yeah.
You can't
Like
really
I,
ask for films to do much more.
yeah, like I think I'm going to go again tomorrow. Because I'm off work tomorrow. Tomorrow being Monday, as we're recording this on Sunday night. Like, so I'm going to go tomorrow, and I would imagine there's probably, in fact, even if I was to look right now, I would imagine that if I look at one at like 2 o'clock tomorrow, that'll probably be a good chunk of that will be
Really?
filled.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And as you say, you can't really ask for a lot more than it, to be filling up these rooms and continuing to fill up these rooms, as we mentioned, kind of in the way that Sinners did last year.
Yep.
Just as you say, just keep going.
And it is going to be one of those films that keeps bringing people out, whether it's first viewings, fifth viewings. It doesn't matter. People are just going to lap this up, and the longer it stays in cinemas, the better, because it keeps everywhere packed. It keeps people buying concessions and whatever. It keeps cinema alive, and that's what Gosling was talking about. Like,
It's
it's
their
their
job. Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah.
It's their responsibility to get to get bums on seats, to get people in the door of cinemas, to keep them alive. And if it's me that's saying to my pal or my mum or my dad or any other relative or people I meet in the cinema who come up to me and I'm like, yeah, you need to go and see it. Like, just keep talking about it and just keep the places packed, because that is the best experience you can have with this film. This is the same with any other film, but if for something that gets so many laughs, it'll probably make you cry at times as well. To share that in a packed out cinemas is the way to do it.
Yeah, and as you say, like as we alluded to there, that the thing that Gosling said of, it's not your job to keep the cinema alive, like so many people, and that's the thing. I think that's been a lot of like discourse around movies and cinema going over the last couple of years has been like, go to the cinema, buy the tickets, and I like, and yeah, 100% you need to do that, but at the same time, when it is, you know, sequel 17 or this is going to be out for 3 weeks, then it's going to be on Disney Plus. You can just hang off.
Mhm.
Like, I think having movies like this is is kind of perfect. Um, as we kind of go to wrap up, um, obviously we've not talked about any spoilers. I don't know if you want to. I just think we've gone half an hour just talking about the vibes of the film, so I don't think we'll do a spoiler section. Go see the film. Will
Yeah.
definitely be the closing thoughts. I just have a few more wee things. A couple last wee things to get to very quickly. Um, my main worry coming out of this is we've seen now that they're saying, we want to, there's talks about making
A
this like a
sequel.
sequel and
Yeah.
doing more things like that. uh, when we get the movies like this and when we get the movies like this doing well, it's always really frustrating to see the studio learn the wrong lesson. Like after Barbie happened, they were like, oh, a Hot Wheels movie, that's what the people want, instead of
Mm.
you know but do obviously this doing so well, maybe not in terms of Amazon learning the wrong lesson of let's make another one. But how important do you see the success of this being to other filmmakers with their visions to go, look, Project Hail Mary done it with a weird concept. Give me the ball and let me run with it. Do you see a lot more of this coming?
I
Or do
think
you
it's really
see
important to Amazon. It's sort of like Amazon Studios. It's one of the big first hits. Do you know what I mean? I think they'll be like, yeah, we want another one. Obviously, then that's why the sequel will be up. But I think they'll then start looking at other directors, people that maybe I don't know, something like me. I think Apple was Scorsese. Do you know what I mean? Like we have that person, we have that director. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
go and make what you want. Here's the budget. Have fun. So I hope that is the way that they think about it. But obviously, you know what companies are like with
yeah,
franchises and continuing it.
yeah.
Nobody
And
wants
like I
it.
say,
Nobody's
I'm
seeking it.
not
Nobody's, you know what I mean?
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to going back and exploring more of this universe and stuff. But I also hope if they are taking that lesson away, they're also going. But let's give the directors with very clear visions the the their space to make movies like this
How
because
can you raise the stakes from the first film? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that it's you need to
yeah,
go above and beyond, and is that then feasible? Is
yeah,
that what people? You know what I mean? There's a lot of questions, so
yeah,
I
Yep,
don't know.
yeah, I know Andy Weir was talking about like he's got ideas penned already for potential sequels, but if you're going to take it any kind of way, I would take it. You would think you would take it. I don't know if you would take it away for Island Grace actually.
I guess I
It's
mean,
a
the
hard one.
most kind of immediate
Yeah,
idea is him getting back, and
then
it's the
I
everyone's
journey
kind of
of
like
everyone's going to
the
be dead,
ambiguity of
obviously. Do
it.
you know what I mean? But I liked it
yeah,
as well. I just
I,
would.
I like the
I don't
ambiguity
think
of
it
the
would work.
ending.
I don't think it would
yeah,
work.
yeah,
I think the ending is the best ending you could have got because I think from the book you don't really hear about Earth after the fact.
Yeah,
Like I think they allude to like the fact that the sun's got brighter, but you take from that what you want. Um, but in terms of sequels, I think if you there's every chance that they just go and make one because it's going to make so much money, and that's what these companies care about at the end of
yeah,
the day. And you're not going to pass up the opportunity to make more money. I mean, look what they're doing with Lord of the Rings. It's getting a prequel, another prequel, and a
yeah,
potential sequel. So they will milk the cash cow for all that they can. But in terms of the story, I'd be happy. I'd be pretty happy with it ending
yeah.
where it is.
yeah. And I guess the final note, and to allude to a segment we will be bringing to the next episode, and I would imagine uh, anytime we do videos like this, um, are we putting this on? Are we putting this on Billion Watch?
So what's it at now? 300.
I think it's just crept over three. It's like into the coming up on like the mid 300s. I suppose it's when do Amazon want to take it to put it on streaming is the sort of big thing here. But if it's
Mm.
got the legs, you would imagine they'll just go, let's just keep this and see if we can make that billion.
So
I
what
don't.
what are we
I don't
looking at?
think it
Like
will happen.
average release window?
I don't know. Was it 21 days is a kind of average, isn't it? Or
I thought it
like,
was near
oh,
40.
yeah, 21 of like kind of like a mainstream IMAX, something like that window
Mm,
that they'd have, or 14. But it'll stay in the
Um,
cinemas for a while. Do you know what I mean? I think
yeah.
it definitely will. I don't think it will hit a
yeah,
billion. I think close to like
it's
700, maybe 650. I
Oh,
think
what's
it'll
that?
double.
It's been out a week.
Yeah, it's got to
it's
be.
Launch
currently
release.
yeah. It's sitting at the last count. I've when I've googled it there, I've seen some people saying 320, some people saying 330, some as low as 301. But into that comfortably into that 300 million. I don't think it will hit a billion, but I would love to. I think it's
Bear
What's the
in
worth it.
mind, right?
projection?
Sinners only made 370 million. That's the one that I've been thinking about comparing it to.
At the same time,
Again,
though,
though,
But
it's
Sinners is rated R.
yeah,
Sinners
exactly.
is
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's a limited audience that's going to go and see
Kieran
Sinners
said it. Do
because
you know
you
what I mean?
do take
Kids,
you you take
everyone.
you take
Yeah,
you take kids out it, and it's a large portion
yeah.
and
that
I think
that
as
you're
well, you
you're taking
talk
out of the
like
numbers.
if you look at like a film like Sinners as compared to this, there's going to be a lot more like bundles of like 4 or 5 tickets sold to a movie like this when you're
Mm.
bringing your friends or your kids or your kids and their friends or whatever, kind of something like that, as opposed to like Sinners, you might get the groups of three it kind of like you see with a lot of films that are like rated R and stuff, or 15 and 18 here. It's kind of like 3 is kind of the sweet spot.
They've been held back. Yeah.
Again, going back to the giving away of Rocky and the marketing, Sinners. I know there was like some vampire bits in the marketing, but the overall kind of, not the theme, but the kind of heart of the story wasn't there in it. Whereas you kind of get it from this, so people will. I think it's got a more rewatchability because there's not like a surprise.
Yeah.
Like you go in, you know what you're expecting. If you go and see it the first time, I think you're gonna be just as enamored with it the second, third, fourth, fifth. Whereas I think
Yeah.
a film like Sinners can lose its effect after the
Yeah.
first watch.
Yeah,
And I
you see
think,
the
as you say as
surprise.
well, Sinners kind of not necessarily hid the vampire sort of stuff from it, but like I remember like a lot of that marketing doesn't allude to it, as you say, and it's like I knew it was a vampire movie going in because I saw everyone
Mhm.
being like, "Oh, Ryan Coogler vampire movie." But if you're not on the corners of the internet where you're, endlessly finding out every nugget of information you can about films you're
Mhm.
excited for, you might have went in being like, "Oh, period piece. Oh, wait a minute, there's vampire. What's going on?" Like,
Yeah.
Like it opens as a gangster movie,
yeah,
essentially,
Mhm.
yeah.
and
Um,
then you are hit with the vampire revelation because I don't think Jack O'Connell was in much of the marketing, if any at all.
Not a
No.
It
lot,
was
no.
mostly it was mostly the Haley Steinfeld kind
I
of
just remember him in the trailer doing
we're
the
gonna
shush, and that was it.
aye. So that's all you get to him, and then Haley Steinfeld's the one where she says we're going to kill every last one of you, and that's
But
the
there's
like
so
it's when she
the,
rises for
the
that bit.
final trailer for Sinners was, I thought, like awful with spoilers, because it was even showing like Michael B. Jordan, like Smoke Stack. One of them is now a vampire, and I'm like,
Yeah, that's just trying to get bums on seats though.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's a last ditch kind of thing.
yeah.
yeah,
Oh well, go see Project Hail Mary. That's the only thing I'll
yeah,
end with.
yeah. 2 thumbs up from everyone on the
Two,
panel.
no, two thumbs up.
Thumbs
Two
up.
thumbs up.
I can't. Lovely.
2 thumbs up. Guys, thanks so much for watching the first film review here on the third act. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you thought of. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of Project Hail Mary, and we will see you next time.